So, box hair dye versus professional hair dye. It's been quite the controversial subject. All the professionals tell you to stay far, far away from box hair dye because according to them, it has harsher ingredients. It's damaging, more damaging for your hair than professional hair color in their opinion. And it is just not good and garbage basically in their opinion. But is it though? And I can really say 100% without any doubt that that is definitely not true. I have very healthy, long, thick hair, and I feel like I am able to maintain thick, long, beautiful hair with dyeing it because of box dye and because I stopped going to the salon. I have noticed that with dyeing my hair with box dye, so this is the hair dye that I have been using. I have a whole stash of these. I dye it every 6 weeks. It's not sponsored, but this is the hair color that I use in order to dye my dark brown to black hair, and then I get this color without bleach. My hair with using this every 6 weeks looks better and is in a less damaged state than when I would visit a salon once a year. That is how damaging salon visits can actually be, because experts, obviously they don't want to lose their clients. They don't have, some of them don't even have any experience with box dye. There is no difference, no matter what the experts or beauty professionals try to tell you, there is no difference. Chemically, box hair dye and professional hair dye are the exact same. The same hair dyes are both used in box hair dye and also in professional salon hair dye. There's no difference. The only thing that is different from box hair dye and professional hair dye is the person applying it, which can make a huge difference. The person that is applying it, if it's a hairdresser and a professional, they have years and years of expertise and experience. They know what they're doing, and you are almost guaranteed to walk out with kind of what you intended to walk out with in the first place. But the group that uses box hair dye are usually people who maybe don't even know what they're doing, and are maybe people that have never dyed their hair before. They're not experts. They're not professional hairdressers like I am. I didn't know what I was doing when I first started dyeing my hair 2 years ago. Because I have such long hair, this is how my hair used to look like, dark brown. Obviously, I didn't want it to go wrong. I didn't want to take the risk, and because I didn't know what I was doing, I opted for going to the salon instead of using box hair dye, because I felt like I was in safer hands because I had no idea what I was doing. Technique is what makes the big difference, but home box dye will have the exact same effect as professional hair dye. Home box dye can perform exactly the same as professional salon hair dye if you know what you are doing. It is not the dye's fault that you have no idea what you're doing, that you're not reading the steps, that you are just applying it too long or bleaching it too long or applying bleach and hair dye over and over again. That is not the hair dye's fault. You need to know what you're doing, and that is the only difference. Then there's a slight other thing when it comes to the differences between box and salon hair dye. What makes salon hair dye a little bit better in that kind of area is the range of colors. When you use box hair dye, I'm not going to get this hair color, obviously, but this is the color that I wanted. But in order to get this color with box hair dye, you never know what you get. Obviously, because I know now that this is my color, I can always buy this exact color number, and I know that this is the color that I will get. But it's definitely not the color in the picture. But I also wasn't intended on getting this hair color, because I would kind of cry if this was the color I would get, because that doesn't match my skin tone and my face. With salon hair dye, when you choose a color, that is usually also the exact color that you get. There are hundreds of colors that you can choose from. There are toners, you have a choice of boosters, you have the choice of what kind of strength of peroxide you want or developer, like the strength of those you can choose. So there's a huge variety of choice when it comes to professional salon hair color. With box dye, you don't have have that. That is only kind of the thing that obviously a lot of people prioritize hair salon dye over box hair dye. But when it comes to the big difference of price, of the amount of money you have to pay in order to get that result, a lot of people, which I completely understand, I'm one of them, will rather opt for box dye than splurge a ton of money on going to the hair salon. I have quite horrible stories from hair salons. I have only had one good experience, and that was with cutting my ends. But aside from that, all the times that I have gone to hair salons in different countries, I have never had a good experience, and I have spent a lot of money. So the first experience I had this color of hair. So my hair is dark brown to black. Never dyed my hair before, and I started dyeing my hair 2 years ago. And what happened? So I was at the bank, and there was this girl, and she had this beautiful copper blondish kind of hair color. It was stunning. And I already had been thinking prior to seeing her hair color of dyeing my hair, but I didn't dare, and I didn't want to damage my hair. Because obviously when I go to the hairdresser, they need to bleach my hair in order to get this type of color. I told her, I complimented her on her hair color, and she told me that she achieved it by just using box hair dye. And she showed me a picture on her phone of the box hair dye that she used, it, the exact number. And she also told me like, hey, I have actually, my natural hair color is the same color as you have, but I just used this box hair dye, and that is all I did. So I was shocked, obviously, that you could actually achieve such a beautiful result with just box hair dye. What I did the next day is I went to the drugstore and I got 4 packages, I think, of the box hair dye that she used, and I just went for it. And it is a huge step for someone like me who has never dyed her hair before, who has very long, thick hair. So when you have long hair, and hair is kind of part of my identity, it's a very big step to take that risk, because it can still go wrong. I'm not a professional. I never really went into depth or read something about how to dye your hair, so I had zero experience, and I just went in with box hair dye. So the result was amazing. The color was beautiful, but I felt like the color didn't really match my face and my skin color. Just, you know, sometimes it looks good on someone, but when it comes to you yourself, it wasn't the color for me. But I wasn't sad. It was still a drastic difference. I liked it, but I wanted something. I didn't know what it was. I didn't, because I never thought that this color would look so good on me. That color was slightly different. It was more a coppery kind of tone. And I went to a hair salon because I was like, okay, I like it, but there's something, maybe she should use a toner or something, but I'm not a professional. I'm not going to do something stupid, so I'm just going to the hair salon and put in some highlights and maybe tone my hair. So I went to the hair salon. They were very shocked when I told them it was box dye, because I had no patches. It was all an even color, but it was because I used 4 packages of box hair dye. I have very long hair. It's up to here, like up to my bum. I could also have easily dyed my hair with 3, but I really wanted to be even, so I dyed it with 4 dyes to really make sure I would get every single strand. And that is also what happened, but I could easily also achieve it with 2 or 3. But she put in some highlights. I told her like I wanted to be a little bit less flat and one color. I want to have some shine and some different colors back into my hair, and I wanted to look a little bit less orange. So she spent a lot of time on my hair. She put in highlights, she toned it. I did spend, I think, 4 hours at the salon, and when she was finally done, it wasn't much of a difference. And it was a very high-end, very well-known salon in where I lived, and it always had good reviews. And I also insisted on one of the best, like the masters that worked there, and I was just kind of disappointed, but I didn't say anything. I think a lot of people have that when they go to the hairdresser. They don't say anything even though they don't like it at all. And that was basically it. didn't like it, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. Like, I wasn't ashamed of walking on the streets with the new hair color I had, but I wasn't happy. So a couple of months passed, and one of my friends, who is a professional hairdresser, but she doesn't work as a hairdresser anymore, but she knows what she's doing and she has a lot of experience, so much more than I had. She had a beautiful hair color and she always dyed her hair at home. And I told her, like, what color is it? I want to try it. And she came and recommended me this color. When I used this color on top of my hair, I was just shocked at how my hair turned. Got this beautiful color. It's just stunning. So no highlights, no anything, just this. And I think I used two, yeah, to dye my entire hair. I use two right now. I only use every 6 months to my roots. I use one, but I use two packages and I loved the results. But again, because I went all in, I went to the hairdresser, another salon, which was also a very well-known salon, to put in some highlights. And they did put a lot of highlights, which didn't match my face again, because this color is the lightest I feel I can go. Lighter just doesn't suit me. So this is a picture of how I looked with the highlights. Just isn't, it looked nice when I got it done, but looking at pictures of me from that time, it just doesn't really match my skin tone and my, I don't know, just doesn't go with my face and my skin tone, basically. My hair got damaged a lot. The salon, like the bleach they used, the highlights they did in my hair, it was very, very damaging. That was 2 years ago, and I have never gone to a hairdresser again, and my hair was really damaged from that. And I used box hair dye ever since. And my friend, who is also a professional hairdresser, I went to her, I think 2-3 months ago, to put in highlights, and she literally puts, just at her home, using home bleach, so not professional bleach, just from the drugstore, she puts in 4 highlights, so 2 here, or maybe 3 here and 2 here, I think. I don't know if the camera picks it up, like this one, and there's another one, just to give my hair a little bit of a texture, a little bit like of light catching it and kind of looking more natural, which I really like, and that's it. No hair salon appointments for me anymore because they're so damaging, and box hair dye hasn't been damaging at all. I have no split ends. I use it every 6 weeks. No split ends, no damage. Because obviously right after your appointment at the hairdresser, they use like creams, they use like beautiful oils, and it all smells good, it's shiny and beautiful. But a week, 2 weeks after, you start to really notice how damaged your hair actually is. Because the first time when I went in to put in the highlights, she also used a type of hair dye on the rest of my hair, so it wouldn't look as orangey. So it would look less coppery, and that really just damaged my hair a lot. And I feel like if I would have never gone to those hairdressers and just went from the other box dye to this box dye hair color, I would have even prettier and healthier hair. My hair looks good, but it is still suffering a little bit from where the hairdressers put in the highlights. The highlights that my friend put in, there's no damage, like looks good, feels amazing, but the highlights that the hairdresser did really starting to get brittle, and on some places you could really like do this, which is obviously a sign of very, very damaged hair, and you don't want that to happen. So when it comes to box hair dye versus salon hair dye, if you're someone who's on a budget, just do your research a little bit and just go for box hair dye. Just do it. Believe me, there's nothing that can go wrong aside from maybe having a wrong color. And you can kind of avoid that by just trying it on one strand first. You can do maybe a little strand right here, apply the dye, and look how it looks. If you like the color, you can do it on the rest of your hair. It's still cheaper. Like I'm so ashamed. Like the money I have spent on hairdressers, I could have gone to a luxury vacation, or I could have bought, I think 50 or 6, yeah, I think 60 when I do the calculations. I could have bought 60 for one appointment. I'm not even talking about the other appointment. Like my first appointment, I could have bought 60 of these, and I use 10 to 9 box hair dyes a year. So if I would have dyed with my hair with box dye until I was 100 years old, I would have still spent less money than one appointment to the hairdresser because I have long hair. So for me, dyeing and stuff like that is more expensive than if you would have hair up till your chest. For me, because I have such long hair, it costs quite a lot. Yes, and I think for everyone that is watching, yes, money plays a big role, but the overall health of your hair is more important than anything, more important than the amount of money you spend, more important than anything. Unhealthy hair is definitely not worth it. So if I would have had to spend a lot of money to have healthy hair, I would do that. But this is even better. This is spending less money and having less damaged hair because I'm not bleaching it, and for some reason I just feel like my hair doesn't get as dry and as brittle as having used professional hair dye. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.